Hey everyone, and welcome to the top malware threats of January 2025. This is presented by Casmer Labs, Cluster Security's internal threat laboratory. We have a couple strains of malware that we've identified as growing in popularity in 2025. So we're actually going to pull them up on the screen for you. We're going to show you what they look like, how to detect them, and what they would actually do if they detonated on your local machine or endpoint. My name's Connor. I'm the product manager here at Cluster Security. And I'm here with Velazar, who's a customer success manager, also here at CSS. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it here. So the top 3 malware families that we detected in January start with Snake Keylogger. This was number 1. And this is a pretty widely distributed, it's an info stealer and actually targets credentials. So think AWS login, personal sites, things like that is what it actually steals and then attempts to exfiltrate. The second was RustyStealer. This is a pretty potent Trojan that goes after sensitive data. So it will attempt to locate sensitive data, and then it will go ahead and try to exfiltrate that from your local machine as well. And the third one is Mirai. This is not anything super new, but it's still very popular. It's a botnet basically that targets regular IoT devices and then goes ahead and uses them to launch DDoS attacks. When we talk about common file types associated with malware, we're going to start with ELF, executable and linkable format. So that's just around 44% of cases, and they primarily affect Linux systems, so servers and other IoT devices. Going down to number 2, no surprises here, is Windows executable or EXE. So that's in 41% of cases. And again, threat to Windows users, and these are most commonly delivered by phishing, emails, or malicious downloads, things like that, social engineering as a whole. And then third is shell scripts. So those are about 9% of cases, and they can target both Linux and Mac OS users. So they're actually used to execute automation and attacks. Down at 4% and 2% of cases, respectively, are PS1 or PowerShell scripts. So, the ability to execute commands on Windows systems. And those are kind of useful for lateral movement, between networks. And then we have zip, compressed archives, think, 7-zip, WinRAR, just regular old zip files. And this is another common delivery method. And so once they're kind of unpacked, they have malicious scripts or other executables, as you can see above, kind of contained within there. And now Velazar is going to share his screen and go over RustyStealer. So he's going to bring it up. He's going to show you what it looks like, and most importantly, what it actually do if it went ahead and detonated on an endpoint or a local machine.
Awesome. Thanks, Connor. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. We have a couple of RustyStealer samples that we have been able to acquire, and we've scanned these samples with our solution. As you can see, they've been found to be infected by our solution. You can see the identity has been listed here, and we can go ahead and go into the solution itself to see how it treats these findings. So as you can see here, we have the findings, and we can see details on how each scanning engine treats this particular file and this particular finding. In this case, it looks like our CSS Premium engine was able to detect the file as infected and as having some type of virus in it. As you can see, the identity is listed here. Along with that, since we're using multi-engine scanning, we also have the Sophos engine, which in this case was finding it or is finding it in suspicious in this case rather than infected. And then it looks like ClamAV found it to be clean. This is just a great example of why it's important to use multi-engine scanning and to increase the efficacy of your scan. And now that the file has been found to be infected, what we can also do through our solution is actually run a static and dynamic analysis. So using a piece of Sophos' Cloud Sandbox that we have access to, you're able to send the file off for a static analysis, and get a report returned to you on the reputation of the file as well as a virus total report. So we've sent this file off for a static analysis, and we'll get that report shortly. All right, so we've got our report here, and as you can see, we have the hash of the file here. In this case, for a static analysis, the hash was sent over to the Cloud Sandbox. What that will do is it will use that hash to check the reputation of the file. It will send you a virus total report with findings of how other scanning engines treat the file, and it's a good high-level view of what this file is all about. Along with that, we can also run a dynamic analysis on the file. And what a dynamic analysis will do is it will send the full file off and actually detonate that file in the Cloud Sandbox, meaning it will run the file line by line to see what it's trying to do, what IP addresses it's trying to connect to, where it's trying to write to, so on and so forth. So now that we've sent our file off for a dynamic analysis, we'll give it a few minutes and see what it comes back with. Okay, so now that we have our dynamic analysis report, we're able to see details on the full file that has been executed and detonated in the Cloud Sandbox. You'll get a MITRE attack matrix report here, and it will map the process the file is trying to initiate to the MITRE attack matrix. Along with that, you'll get details on the types of malicious activity that has been found. The Cloud Sandbox will actually run the file through the Sophos antivirus engine on its side as a secondary scan and provide details on what else it's seeing within the file. In this case, it looks like this file is trying to generate a ransom note, it looks like, on the Sandbox file system. And it's been flagged by the Sophos antivirus during that secondary scan. You'll also get details of the IP addresses it's trying to connect to. And this is great because you'll be able to see what those IP addresses are, who they're owned by, and use this as part of your research to better understand what this file is all about and if it's actually malicious. Last but not least, you'll get an activity tree here of the steps the file is trying to take. And just to make it a little bit easier to see and read, here's the full activity tree. As we can see here, it looks like this file is trying to perform a number of different steps. It's trying to write, it looks like, to a temporary directory here. And this is great because you can also use this activity tree to see what it's actually doing in the background as it's run.
Awesome. Thanks for showing that off, Balazar. We appreciate it, and thanks everyone for watching. We hope you thought it was helpful. The two of us think it's pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna do these analyses as often as new malware comes out and we get wind of it. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll hear from you guys soon.
Thanks everyone.